The Chris that I met at that point was searching for a whole bunch of different answers. So he's asking really big questions about himself, asking really big questions about making sense of the world around him. And when we started to meet up more regularly, he started asking more and more faith questions. In fact, even at one point he told me, like, this was months later, at that point it was going to be either he was in or out of faith. Like, he had to make a choice. And he also, at this point, was reflecting a lot about his faith that had led him to this point. And the Euro trip ended up being one of the most impactful things. When he got home from the first trip, I think he even said, like, I don't think I'm going to go on that trip again. And his reflection in that point, being something that he wasn't necessarily comfortable with. But later on, as his faith started to grow, he started to realize all of the pieces that have been, like, lined in place for months coming, and had been able to connect them all. I'd say, like, through the Spirit, seeing how God has moved in many different ways over a long period of time, over a lot of different relationships and experiences, that when a crisis hit, his faith sort of exploded.
I have not missed a day of church since August. I've been doing something basically called Roots Discipleship with our worship leader. Actually, I'm doing my profession of faith this week. Meeting people from different areas and just kind of bringing all of our faiths together is a wild experience. I mean, it's awesome. You meet with these guys from the Middle East that are big into rock climbing, and you meet with some people that love biking, and you meet with even people from, America, with a completely different point of view on everything. And it's awesome just to sort of take in how many different perspectives there are.
As of now, it gives me more thanks for even attending last year. Seeing, honestly, just the faith portion of it, like, it makes me feel more of a desire, more of a fire to be faithful. Seeing people, like I said, that should be scared to have faith, do it so confidently, gives me this drive and desire to spread that around.
Through the Euro trip, we got to get to know each other more and more. After the Euro trip ended, throughout the following year, I discipled him and met up weekly to talk a lot about life, talk a lot about the trip, his experience, but also his growing faith. I think having relationships, especially when to process your faith and the life around you, are crucial. But I often think of them a little bit like planting a seed. There's a piece of planting a seed that you do your faithful work. You plant the seed in the dirt, you water it, you may protect it from predators, but there's nothing that you can do to make the seed grow. But slowly, over time, we eventually see something above the surface that grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. I think that discipling relationships, mentor relationships, are a lot like this. They're doing the same things again and again and again, and oftentimes after any individual meeting, nothing necessarily changes. But over years or months of doing this sort of thing, we start to see growth, and one day we wake up and you're like, oh, I'm different than I was. The character that God has been forming within me is much different. When his faith starts to change, all of the relationships that he's around start to notice that he's different. And as he started to go to church every single week, started to sit in the same area, there are even friends that started to take notice. So he even started to bring a friend named Mason with him. As his faith starts to change, his relationships with all of his current people start to change. And Mason is one that took notice. So Chris, that goes on the second trip, his faith is much further along and much deeper. So his feedback I was really, really stoked to hear. But I was also extremely stoked to hear Mason's, because Mason is in many ways where Chris was the first year. And Chris has helped a friend come along in his faith as Chris has grown in his faith.